Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and on here I do kind of bullet journaling and all kinds of things. But recently I posted a video about like a mini unboxing of my new art journal for 2021 and some Acrylograph pens. If you'd like to see like more of my pages and things like that, definitely do check out my Instagram, which will be linked below. There I post videos of all my spreads that I do and photos and things like that, and I get input from you guys about what kind of spreads that you want to see. But I had someone comment and ask to see more of the pens themselves on that unboxing video, and so I'm going to be talking about these pens. The ones that I got for Christmas are the 3mm, the Cool Fall collection, and this was my favorite like color scheme that they sent out. Like the jewel tones I kind of liked, and then I liked the warm fall. But when the Cool Fall came out, I was obsessed with it. I really want to get the 7mm. The ones I got were the 3mm, and as I'll talk more in the video, I'll talk about like the size of the tips are bigger than the 7mm. And I'll talk about all the colors. Sorry, the white is out right now because I was recently using it. But I have to say, out of all the colors that I've used, I've been using these two blue shades the most. But I think my favorite is actually this dark blue, which surprised me. I thought like the red and the green were going to be my favorite, but it ended up being the blue. But I'll talk about kind of using them, getting them started. I haven't really been successful with really trying to like blend them. That's something that I didn't get these really for blending. I usually do watercolor if I'm going to do blended things. So I'll talk about that more in depth in the video. Do let me know if you have any other questions. I'm definitely wanting to get another set, like a different color if I can, but I think I would rather get the 7mm just for me personally because I think I'd like to do more details with it. But yeah, so stay tuned. I will be talking about this spread that I set up, so I'll show you kind of like me using them and how I set up the spread a little bit, and I will have color swatches of all the paint pens and talking about how I like them personally, so stay tuned for that. So as I mentioned in the unboxing video, it has all the instructions here, and I've already started all of the pens of like shaking them and pressing them down. Now I have noticed that if you haven't used the pen, like if you go to use it a couple of days later, you do need to shake it and press it down as well to get the paint flowing back again. And for cleaning and storing, I haven't mixed any of them, so I don't wipe off the tip at all. I just store them like this, horizontally. I haven't done the blending palette because I really haven't found the need to do that. When I try doing the blending, I will let you know. Maybe I'll try a little bit today. But the colors are this white, and then we have the lighter blue, the darker blue, the peach, the red, this icy blue, a taupe, the dark brown, the green, and then this is the blending one. And it comes with like extra nibs. Now I have noticed that when you have to get the paint flowing and like you push it down on the paper, it kind of squishes the nib a little bit because you have to press for quite a long time when you get them started. So my question would be that like it's fine because these are the wide tip ones. I would wonder how the thin tip ones would actually hold up by pressing down, and that's something that I'll have to see when I get the thinner tip ones. Now I have noticed that I really do like the wide tip ones for when I'm doing like big areas, but you really can't do any fine detail, and so I kind of wish that these kits would come with the pens, that you could just get the pens with the 3mm and the 7mm instead of having to buy a whole nother set of 7mm. That's like my one qualm I wish, is that you could just have the option of interchanging them out, because I feel like sometimes I want to have this color in a big area, but then I want to have it fine detail, but I can't because I don't have the 7mm tip. So that's my only thing, is that I wish that you had different options instead of having to buy a different set again. And I guess if you bought a 7mm set and then bought a different set, like different colors that's 3mm, you could use the spares, but then you would only be able to use it for like a couple colors. All the colors seem to be really good. Now I noticed that this one here, sometimes you really have to get like a couple layers, and the same with these two. The peach I haven't used as much, but I've noticed it. These you kind of have to really get the color going and really have to do a couple layers. But for the white, actually, the like darker blue, the red, the brown, and the green, I noticed that you really don't have to have as much. It just kind of really covers everything really nicely. But I'm gonna do like color swatches of all these on camera so that you guys can see them, see what they look like. But that's kind of like my opinion of these. I really do like the color. You can really notice, I don't know if I can pull up a page on my journal. You can really notice that the color is like really nice to have. So this red, it's very nice and easy. Like it just becomes part of the page, where like with watercolors you have like this wrinkling. You get this like, even with the 168, now Archer and Olive is the only journals that actually holds up watercolor really well. And even then, when you really start doing a lot of layers, it'll start bending. But no matter how much ink I put down for the Archer and Olive pens, I feel like here, like I put a lot of paint down here and it didn't bend at all. So I feel like that's something that I appreciate with the Archer and Olive ink, is that it really doesn't, you don't see any warping, and you can put as many layers as you want really, and it's fine as long as you let them dry in between. So that's something that I think I like best about the paint, like the pens themselves, is that they don't create this warping. And that's something that bothers me, is that when I want to plan like the next week, I have to be like wary of all this like warping from the watercolor, where when I use the pens I don't have to worry about that. And the colors are so much more vibrant than like using any markers that I've had. And usually when you have markers, you have that like streaking, like from Tombow pens, and you don't have that streaking here. It's just like one cohesive color. So I won't do the white because I don't have a black surface right now, but I'll start with this lighter color. And as you see, like if I just start like rubbing, nothing happens because I haven't used these for a couple days. So if I press down, start moving, you can see the paint starting to come out, but I have to like keep doing that. Now the only thing is, I wonder how long these will actually last, because like the light blue ones I've used quite a bunch, like the blue ones I've used for headers. So as you can see, I was talking earlier that, there you go, it's kind of patchy a little bit because it's the lighter color, and you kind of have to like mix it. And I've noticed that if you move like diagonally or like up and down, it doesn't create like a bed. It's like it's kind of like patchy, but if you do it in like circles, it goes better. So see, this one I've used a whole bunch, so I'm already starting to wonder if like it's running low. But like you kind of really can't tell. Like I like the white packaging, but I wish that they were clear here so that you could actually see how much paint that you have. And then this darker blue one I've used a bunch, but I always feel like see immediately like the paint comes right out and I'm barely pressing at all. I really like this dark blue, and I've noticed that like the more I use it, the kind of darker that it gets. But as you can see, like I really didn't need to work with it, and it automatically wasn't patchy or anything. I'll have to go back over that when it dries. And I noticed that dry time is usually how much like liquid that you put on. Sometimes it's like 20 seconds or 30 seconds, but sometimes it can be a minute. Now this peach one I haven't really used, but the color comes out quite fast. And as you can see, like I just need to move circularly, and you can kind of still see the dots a little bit underneath because it's like a lighter color. So you could definitely put like a second coat if you wanted to, but the peach isn't that bad. The light blue one, I feel like just because it's so light, it's just a little bit patchy sometimes. The red one's kind of like the blue one, of how it automatically just comes out perfectly without really touching it at all. But as you can see, if I don't press on it, like if I keep mixing while it's still wet, then you get patchiness. If you just let it go and let it dry for a little bit, that won't happen. So I'll probably have to go back over that if I wanted it to be completely solid. But you just need to let it dry in between instead of trying to mess with it, because it's just like trying to like mush around wet paint, because it is paint. It's not like watercolor where you keep blending, it makes it more smooth. Now this one I really actually haven't used at all in my spreads yet, but I'm a really big fan of it. When I first tried it out, it was like super patchy like this one, but this one, now I've noticed that once you like just kind of start using it, it's not quite as patchy. It's a really pretty icy color. I'm actually going to try to use this one soon. I think I might do a Mandalorian spread, and this color would be really perfect for some Star Wars. Now this one, I love the color. As you can see, I've got some paint on the outside. I love the color. It's not more of this taupey, it's more of like a tan. But the problem with it is that it's really patchy sometimes, and you really have to like work with it. It just depends on it. Like if you move in circles, it works better, but as you can see, it's already kind of like dry. This one I feel like you have to press for a long time before using it, and then kind of smear the paint around a little bit. I don't know if it's just because of like the batch that I got, but it's a wonderful color, but I think maybe just because it's like this light blue one where it's just so lightly pigmented that you just have to work with it a little bit. And then the dark brown, again, is one of the darker colors. I haven't used this yet, really. I've just done like the sample swatches of it. But it's a gorgeous color, and it comes out so smooth. Something I have to say is this one is pretty much the only difficult one that I've worked with, but I love it. Even then, it's beautiful. But these paints are just like perfect. I usually do watercolor, acrylic, oil painting, and I've never had a medium that quite works like this. And the reason why I've never done like paint pens before is usually when I try to work with them, they're an absolute nightmare. And these are not. These are like the easy, especially like these colors are like the easiest to work with. And it's so easy. It's just like using like a marker. You can just sit there and you just got like perfect color right away. This green is also the same. I haven't gotten a chance to work with it yet, but it just comes out perfectly. I really didn't need to shake. I only shook these a little bit. I didn't really need to shake or push on these, and I haven't used these in like a week. That's when I did the swatches. So pretty much like the only ones you really need to press and hold to kind of get the paint out for me are these two. And these other ones are like, they're really good about it. I really enjoy using them. Now, as I said, I haven't tried using the blending, and I'll try to do that on camera. I just really don't know what it's like. I'm not really interested in blending any of them right at the moment. I'm kind of interested in getting these color deposits down for when I'm doing something. The thing with the 3mm, I'll use this one, you can kind of see, it's like that's about how thick the line is. For example, if you use a 7mm pencil, like that's the line of the pencil. So it's pretty wide. And like, so if I wanted to like write something with it, you kind of like have to have like a really light hand. And even then it's like still like really thick, as you can see. So if I like actually write with it, it's still like super thick. So like when you're trying to do details, you can't really use the 3mm for details. This is really for filling things in. I would much prefer to have the 7mm ones, just because I'd like to actually be like, the thing that I like to do is the writing and the details and like small drawing details. So I really do want to get the 7mm, but I love this color palette so much. I'm even considering getting the 7mm in these colors. So as I was saying before, that I kind of wished that the paint palettes actually came with the 2 different sizes instead of just the 1 size, because I feel like that way you can actually get some. But here you can kind of see the colors. Sorry, they're upside down, but this way to film it. You can see the colors, and I'll go over that one here real quick to show you like how they layer. See, it layers quite nice. So all of a sudden it's opaque, and I've noticed that with watercolor, if you put watercolor over them, it kind of covers them, but it really doesn't. So when I was doing my like lake scene here, I had drawn some white lines already, and when I went to put some watercolor on, it didn't cover the white. So it's kind of nice that if you want to paint something in watercolor and you want something to be white, you can always put your white down first and then paint over it, because it'll be fine. And now the white pen I can put over this dark blue, as you can see. Now with the white, that's a really, really dark blue. If I kept pushing and pushing, it would maybe start smearing a little bit, but it's really easy to just put another layer of white on top, and you can kind of see a little bit of the color came off, but that's just because I just did the green and it probably hadn't dried all the way yet. But the white, I find that this white pen, I don't really use it like on top of dark things quite a lot, but it's amazing for covering up mistakes. I always try to use like whiteout and it looks awful and it makes your spread look terrible. And I would try to use like the Sakura Jelly Roll pen, and sometimes it's either too small to like cover up the mistake, or you keep having to put layers and it starts mixing with the pen ink if you make a mistake. This covers a mistake amazingly. So if you're someone who gets the 3mm and you're like, well, I'm not going to use the white because I don't use blackout spreads, you might really like the white to actually cover up mistakes, because this is amazing for covering up mistakes. So I actually haven't tried to do the blending yet, so you're going to be trying it with me. It says that you're supposed to press down like the colors that you want, but you're supposed to do it quite fast because the ink will dry quite fast, and I do understand like sometimes when you're trying to do details it will dry quite fast. So I don't know if I'm quite doing it right. I think I need to get this started. So this is how I started the other ones. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I think it dried too soon. Yeah, so I don't see the point of this blending. It's not really working for me, but maybe I'm not doing it quite right. But the instructions say that ink dries quickly, so work with a small amount of time. This is hold the pen tip at a 90-degree angle, press down on the blending palette firmly until the desired amount of ink comes off. Use the blending to mix the colors, apply new colors to your page. Clean the tip of the blending pen. So let's try this again. Maybe I didn't put enough ink down. But as I said before, I want to use these pens for the colors that they are. If I want to do blending and mixing and things like that, I will use my watercolor palette for that. So maybe I just needed to get more ink. So let's try that. So that seems to be working better, is that I've absorbed that ink, but now this ink I need to get it to come out. That kind of works. I don't think the blending thing is really for me. I'm probably totally doing it wrong, so people in the comments who use these, you just tell me what I'm doing wrong. I think what my problem is, I'm not putting enough ink down. But as I said before, I'm really not interested in blending these at the moment, since I'm kind of just using them for the colors that they are. They say that you can just use a wet rag or like washcloth and just like wipe it, and this is just a paper towel. As you can see, it comes like right off. That's just a little bit of water and it just comes clean immediately. So if you're ever worried about it being like messy, I wouldn't really worry about it. And then again, I just store these like this, and I think it's easier to just store them in the container that they come in. And I know some people hate waste, and like this is a lot of packaging, but I feel like this is not a lot of packaging and it's not completely wasteful if it's something that I'm actually going to be using to store these. So that's the 3mm, and I got the 3mm, as I said, the Cool Fall collection, and I'm seriously considering getting the 7mm Cool Fall collection. I wish I could get that one, and I'd really like to actually get the Warm Fall. I really like the Warm Fall tones. The Jewel Tone palette I liked, but I've realized that the Warm Tone palette I actually liked a lot more. I think it was like the Tropical palette. It's just not my colors, but I would be really interested in getting other pens and seeing how I like them. But I'm going to go ahead and start working on week 4's setup for January, and I'll film a little bit of me doing that. I probably won't be talking, but I thought you guys just might want to watch some of it, and I think I'm just going to do a really simple minimal palette and just fill in some of the colors up here so you guys can actually see that. If you want to head over to my Instagram, you can definitely check out for week 3, which I'm about to be penciling right now, is actually celebrating my 400 followers over on Instagram, and it was followers control my spread. And so all of you guys picked that you wanted vertical and 2 pages, and you wanted it either ice or winter themed. And some of you, I need to check to see if you guys want the washi tape or not on it, but so head over there. So yeah, I will go ahead and fill in those spreads now. Here's the spread that I ended up doing, and as you can see, I covered up these 2 colors because I wanted all the colors to be kind of uniform with the themes that I'm doing, and you can see that the paint, like you can layer on top, so this is the bright red and that was the bright peach. The paint colors really layer very, very well, and you can see like it didn't bleed through at all, and that's something that I really love about the pens, is that they really don't bleed through at all. I mean, I think if you keep layering and layering and layering when they're still wet, they will, but if you let them dry in between, it's really nice. And as you can see, the colors are so beautiful. It's so much fun to work with these, and I really do want to get the smaller tip ones so I can do finer detail drawings. The big tip ones are kind of just good for me for like doing things like this, but in my opinion, I really love these pens. I just think that their colors are just so crisp, and I really enjoy working with them. It's a lot of fun. So if you're someone who's on the fence about buying these pens, I would definitely say, in my opinion, they're really good to at least try out, at least get a set. If you're wanting to do more detailed things, definitely get the 7. If you're wanting to do bigger block things, then definitely get the 3mm. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helps some and that you guys like it. I know there's not a lot on like the cool fall collection itself. I'm definitely, as I said, I'm interested in getting the 7mm just because I kind of want the pens for small details rather than just big, but this is really nice to do like kind of the headers as I showed you. I do, like, the only qualms that I have with this is I wish that you didn't have to get like a whole nother paint set to have the 7mm. I wish that the sets were like 3mm and 7mm, that you could just interchange the tips and keep the same pens. I guess you could technically do that if you bought like a set, but then you'd have to constantly be cleaning the tips out with like the spares, as I mentioned. So that's the only thing is, but I do think that this is worth the price, especially if you can do like the discount. A lot of times there'll be referral discounts and things like that that you can do. I think that these are really, really neat. I really enjoy using them. As someone who uses a lot of different paint mediums, this is something that I really was looking forward to trying. I usually stick to watercolor, and then when I do big paintings, I like doing oil. This is a very unique medium. When I've used paint pens before, like, you know, those paint pens that smell absolutely awful, those things are so hard to work with. Like, they're near impossible to work with. And these are perfect, and they look amazing on the Archer and Olive paper. I haven't had any problems with it like bleeding through. You just have to wait for it to dry a little bit, or else it'll smear just a tiny bit. But I think they're really easy to work with, and I think that they're a medium that's good for anyone who is experienced with art or someone who's a beginner to bullet journaling. I think that these pens are really fantastic, so I would definitely recommend getting them. I know they're a little bit pricey. Something that I want to see is how long that they actually last. As I mentioned, the only thing that I wish is that they weren't completely white, that they were kind of clear through so you could kind of see where your paint levels are. That's something that I like to do when I have like bottles of paint, that you can see where the level of paint is. So we'll see how long these last. Definitely check in on my Instagram. Well, maybe I'll put something up if, like, after using them for a couple months, what I think about them. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're wanting to see more, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you have anything that you're wanting to see, definitely just let me know. I'm willing to do videos. If you're like, I want to see you using, like, doing a watercolor like tutorial or anything like that, just let me know. I don't mind. And if there's any themes that you want to see in bullet journaling, just let me know. I don't mind doing spreads based off what you guys want to see. In fact, I did a poll on Instagram of what kind of TV shows that you guys liked, and right now it looked like Star Wars and that 70s show is actually very popular. Those are two of my favorite shows, is Mandalorian and Star Wars. Mandalorian and that 70s show. So I'll probably have spreads coming up. I'm just trying to decide which one I want to do for February, but I'm going to sit down and start planning February. My goal for 2020 this year, one of my resolutions, is to plan my monthly spreads like way ahead and like get them done so I can actually do videos on them. So let me know what you guys want to see. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great day, and happy bullet journaling!